Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today spawned in the southwest corner of the map playing in teal. We've got Downfall playing as the Rus, and his opponent in the northeast playing in orange. We've got Mikos playing as the ayyubids. Welcome everyone to Gorge. That's the map for today, and a map that's known to be pretty aggressive. Of course, the central access point for both players, a very direct route to your opponent, but also you got the side openings which are very wide and open. It's a map that does kind of stimulate that aggression, but can be whoa, hello moly, that scout's floating in the air. Anyway, it is a map that you can turn into a bit of a slugfest turtle map, but not at the early game. You have to get to that mid game. You've got to survive that mid game if you're both players against the aggression, and then work your way there. Although having said that, if both players decide to, play a 15-minute no rush type of game, where they're being very defensive and booming up, that's always a possibility on any map. It doesn't even have to be Gorge. It could be any map if both players are looking to get multiple town centers. And that can be an approach because Downfall is the Rus. I mean, ultimately, the Rus meta, it's very typical, right? It's often that Kremlin into a second town center. It's got to be, really. You can go for feudal age aggression and pressure, but would you dare it? Would you really do that against the other alternative of getting a great economy? Which is the Rus economy, of course, incredible economy they have. They're getting the bounty already, so getting gold trickling in. And actually able to get an early wheelbarrow, which is kind of nuts. Now, he's only got 43 in the bank after that in terms of gold, so it's kind of a bit tricky. Sometimes you can see that players actually start researching it, and then if they feel they aren't going to get enough bounty, they actually delete it or cancel it. But if he's going to get a full deer camp here, it should be okay, especially when you factor in he's getting the hunting cabin gold, 22 gold per minute. Now, on the other side of things, the House of Wisdom is the landmark. Well, yeah. It's not like they have a choice, right? They're always going to build the House of Wisdom, but what he does have a choice of afterwards is what does he use to get up to the next stage? Which wing will he go for? I've got to say one thing, though. We've got to be careful not to run out of sheep underneath the town centre. I don't know how many sheep are there, but it's looking a bit crowded. There we are. There are two ladies there that aren't able to gather food. And that's not what you want as a Rus. Might need to just transition onto wood. That's what he's doing, yeah. Just making sure that the units, the villagers are working. No slacking for the Rus. Getting a wolf again, going to be adding to that gold. He'd be fine to get to the next stage. He's struggling a little bit on that gold. A little bit delayed, but all things considered, depending on your future strategy, if you're not really timing that feudal age for a massive push, it's not really a problem, right? Now behind this, the ayyubids. It's going to go up to the next stage with the military wing. It's actually quite nice. We never really saw this earlier on, when the civilisations were kind of first released with the new DLC, but we're seeing a lot more now. The military school, or the military wing rather, giving cavalry units the ability to construct siege weapons, which is a weird one, but it works pretty well. But more importantly, the House of Wisdom actually produced one desert raider every 2 minutes for the rest of the game. So it's kind of nice because, you get free units. You can never say no to free units, but more importantly, you get a desert raider spawn when you get to the next stage. It means you can put some pressure on. I gotta say though, against the Rus, I don't know how much pressure you're going to be able to do, especially when you factor in the Kremlins there, the static defense, and obviously the Kremlin gremlins that can split. Wait a minute. Scrap all of that. I mean, we took a lot about the Kremlin, but you kind of take it for granted that's what's going to be chosen. Well, Downfall. Going for the Golden Gate. Now, the question is, will that be the downfall for him? Because the Kremlin is such a strong landmark. I've got to say though, the Golden Gate is not a terrible landmark. It's actually incredibly powerful. It's just that the Kremlin is just a little bit better in many ways. Having said that, you can't deny that Golden Gate is still incredibly strong. Getting those tickets for the favourable trades, it kind of gives you that vibes of the ayyubids trade wing, right? Obviously not possibly as strong, but it's still incredibly good. And it does give that really nice second town centre timing. I wonder whether he's going to go for stone and trade it in or not. Remains to be seen. Going to go for wooden fortress. The one thing about the Kremlin as well that's kind of overlooked in many ways, not only is it static defense, not only does it give you Kremlin gremlins, but it also is a free wooden fortress, which will be increasing the wood dropped off. Instead, he has to build one, which doesn't come cheap as the Rus. It's a solid 175 wood. You factor in a regular outpost as 100 wood, almost double the cost. Now the ayyubids behind this is looking to get a second town center. You can see a lot of villages on gold, stone rather, collecting up pretty nicely. And there's that desert raider. Obviously hasn't been able to do too much just yet. Gonna focus on the scouts. The scouts should be able to get out of there. Focusing on the range attack. Does he get the scout in the end? He just about gets one. Nice little pick off there by Mikos. By the way, just letting you know, Mikos, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but just from memory, I believe it's 3D Cat. Part of the 3D clan. Same clan as 3DB, 3D Isanch, 3D Anatand. I gotta say, actually, 3D clan has been growing with some really talented players. But I may be wrong, so we'll call him Mikos for now. Now, what often happens for the ayyubids when they do go for the military wing opening, might as well finish the word off there, they do tend to get the culture wing advancement into that castle age, because ideally what the game plan is to allow that military wing to let them get that castle age just to deny any pressure coming in and put some pressure on their opponent. But looks like it is going to be a second town center there for Downfall. It's got 360 stone, 400 wood. Question is, where does he place that second town center? Where does he venture out to? It's going to go out here on the west side on the deer camp and wood. And it's actually a bit risky sometimes to place your second town center so far away, especially when you can only garrison 7 villages inside, and also they're not hugely tanky, 2,500 HP. But one thing you have to consider is it's pretty well hidden, right? It's not something that necessarily Mikos will be aware of. Now, he will need to scout that out and need to find it, but it's a question of whether he does or not. Now, with the second town center also coming in for the ayyubids, it means we're going to be in for a boom fest. So when I said that the map can be aggressive, well, they've both chosen to be a bit more passive for now. But the one thing I love about Age of Empires 4, by the way, is that even when you get a bit of passivity, I don't know, is that even a word? When you get some passiveness for both players, it means one thing. It means the economies are scaling. It means that there's going to be aggression later, and that aggression later is going to be twice as hard. It's going to pack twice of a punch. It's going to be good, is what I'm trying to say. Speaking of good, it's been really good to see you guys, a lot of you guys supporting the channel on both YouTube and Twitch. I gotta say, these shoutouts are probably going to turn into a meme soon. Anyway, I really do appreciate the support nonetheless, so thank you. Whether you watch on YouTube or whether on Twitch, either way, greatly appreciated. I'm streaming a lot more on Twitch these days, so be sure to check out the video description. I'll drop a link to my Twitch channel if you're interested in watching live streams. I'm actually casting this game live, so yeah. Check it out next time if you wish. Now, something that the Rus might wish for. Now I have to think of a good transition for that line. Well, he might wish that that wood economy rather, is stronger than it is. It's still already strong with the 20% coming in from the wooden fortress, but he's also getting that double broad axe. Something that we maybe see a little bit earlier usually. But of course that second town center delayed that a little bit. You definitely want that second town center as a priority. Horseman, gonna dive in with a couple of desert raiders. Don't forget, desert raiders are free at the moment, coming from the House of Wisdom quite nicely for the ayyubids. It does look like he's itching towards that castle age a little bit as well. Maybe he needs a little bit more villagers on gold. Got 5 of them actually, so he's got a couple more. I think he probably just recently added them. Horseman going to look to chase that scout away, and Downfall is going to be walling up that board just to make sure that any aggression here won't lead to his downfall. It's obviously very well protected. Now Horseman's slowly going to start working on that scout. I think the scout will survive, most likely. It's unlikely that scout will go down anytime soon, although it might do if there's these units chasing along. Should be able to catch up. With a bit of body blocking, nah, should be fine. Going to be retreating to the main town centre. Now behind all of this, the ayyubids. Well, he's spending gold on upgrades actually, so maybe it isn't going to be a straight castle age. He's going to go for iron undermesh and upgrading his units. Maybe to try and punish that second town centre, right? It could be an option. A couple of knights coming out, a couple of archers as well for the Rus. That typical army composition of knights and archers. Downfall. Going for that classic option. The trouble for him is kind of getting sniped here. Don't forget the desert raiders. They do actually have camel on ease. That would be reducing the enemy cavalry unit damage by 20%. Nothing to be scoffed at, that's for sure. Getting an outpost in gold. So there's the telegraphing of the strategy, right? Even though he's going for production buildings, you feel like he's going to still edge towards that castle age. I wonder if he's going to rally there soon. Bear in mind the castle age potentially will be cheaper for him if he does go for the... Actually, maybe not. Maybe just looking to be protected at home because he's going for a double stable. Maybe he is looking to put some pressure on in the feudal age. Going to be walling up. This is interesting. I've got to say, it's difficult to read. I've got to say, because if you're thinking of doing feudal age aggression, you wouldn't necessarily invest too much into palisade walls. You'd want that wood into units, right, and production buildings. Well, he's got production buildings anyway, but maybe units. If you're going for walls, you might be thinking, well, maybe that gives me some time to breathe to get to the castle age. So I'm not entirely sure. I've got to say, it's a bit of a difficult read here for Mikos' strategy. Downfall, on the other hand. He's pumping out units, but he's certainly looking towards that castle age. Look how many villages he has in gold. That could be actually for knights as well, to be fair. Because he does have 2 stables, both producing. Gonna break through to another walls there on the west side. Should pick off 2 villagers. Nice little sniping here. Oh, maybe even a 3rd villager here. Try to get a hunting cabin on the berries. There's lost 3 villagers so far. Good sniping there by Mikos. Gonna get to Bloomery as well for the horsemen and melee units to increase the damage by +1. Yeah, Mikos really sticking it out in the feudal age actually now. With the farming transition coming out, there's no sight of castle age anytime soon. There's quite a few knights there getting a good charge attack. The desert raiders need to back away from there. Good number of archers. The concern for the ayyubids facing up against the Rus. The Rus have such a strong wood economy, right? You get the double broadaxe, you got the 20% coming in for the wooden fortress. That means they could spam out those archers. It's actually been a common theme of their gameplay for a long time now. And it's going to be the castle age coming in for downfall. Going to go with the high trade house. Also might try and get surrounded and body block. Or doesn't quite get surrounded one of the knights at least. It was hoping to do so. I think downfall should be okay, right? He's got the standing army he needs to defend. And I think Mikos... It's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to the castle age coming in from the Rus. He's got 2 options. He can either try and get the castle age himself or double down on the feudal age. Either's a possibility. The good thing is he does have a lot of army that could try and deny the relics coming in. The big concern is, though, is the early knights. They can be upgraded to the castle age knights, and even with Camelanese, they can pack a punch, gets a charge on the horseman, takes him out instantaneously, and the backs away to make sure he can get out of there. Oh, horseman numbers though, going to try and get a wrap around. This could be big though for Mikos. If he can take this fight and win, then that castle age, those units, they won't be upgraded to the veteran status. He needs to get as many of these as he possibly can. He's going to try and dive on the archers. There's that castle age coming in. Veterancy upgrades queued up immediately for downfall. This is the big fight we're expecting to see. Mikos, he's diving in. At the town centre, coming in clutch. He's going to head right back to that static defense. And Mikos, going to head back home. He's got 472 gold. I suspect if he stops producing for a moment, he will go to the castle age. He's going to deny that wooden fortress. Got to delete that. He doesn't. He deletes that wood instead. Fortunately for downfall. Mikos with 28 military, and I gotta say, against civilizations that knight civs, the things that hurt the most is how premium these units now are. They're the castle age units. It doesn't really feel like Mikos can take this fight. Despite having the numbers advantage, it just feels a bit rough. I mean, the Camelanese would help. I think he takes it. He might need to just trade there. Or try and delay things as much as possible, because he is looking to go to the castle age himself. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to go with advancement at this point. He's going to do it anyway. He's going to do it. The reason why I was going to say he probably doesn't need to is he's got a strong economy anyway, right? So that extra savings on the resources is not as impactful. It's not like a timing push he's going for with the castle age. In case he needed it, he could have. He just wants to get the castle age as quick as possible. He's taking the engagement anyway. Going to try and get as many of these units down in numbers as possible before he gets there to the veterancy upgrades. And he's not a bad idea actually. He's taking good engagement, but he's got to be careful not to get too close to the town centre. And those veteran archers are packing a punch. I mean, these guys are powerful now. He's got to back away. I don't think he can take the rest of the fight. The defender's advantage just way too strong. It does have the mobility. It turns around and fights, and that's not advisable. I was baited in a little bit here. Mikos, this is not a good fight. He's up against castle age knights, and sure, he does have the numbers advantage, but the veteran archers is going to still pack a punch, even against these horsemen. A lot of them are weak, right? And yeah, This is not looking good for Mikos. He's going to lose his whole army. Primarily because of the defender's advantage. The extra units coming in quickly. It really hurt him. He's walking away with just 9 military. Does get to the castle age now, though. Does have a double stable, so could potentially get some camel lancers. Going to go for the horseman upgrade. But he just lost so many there earlier. That makes things a bit rough. A good thing for Mikos, though, he's not behind on economy in terms of villager count, but I've got to say he's probably behind on economy when you factor in the wooden fortress. Not to mention the hunting cabin, constantly getting gold, and not to mention the high trade house, by the way, which is getting 176 gold per minute. Something really strong for the Rus as well, by the way, is that they do often have this crash in terms of food. Like you can see, like he's got 100 food in the bank right now. It's very typical for the Rus to have that happen. When they expire the food resources, whether it be boar or deer, they really crash on that food. But something that holds them in good stead is the wood economy. Transitioning into farms is pretty easy with that. I'll tell you what's going to be easier though is this fight for Mikos. It's an easy decision. He just dives on this. And if he continues, he should be able to clear up the archers. Although he's going to try and micro this as best as he possibly can. Downfall. Going to trickle in a couple more knights who actually might turn this fight if he actually engages. But he does charge in now. Ultimately, gold units always win these fights. Unless you're totally outnumbered. Now behind all of this, Downfall with that faster castle age time, he's got 1 relic in the bank. Already going to get 1 more. Obviously helped by the fact that warrior monks do have a decent movement speed. You can see this guy bringing 1 more home. Looking to get some rams here, Downfall. Needs to be careful though. Needs to get some more units, you feel. But he's going to try and put some pressure on with some siege. Which you'd love to see. Again, everything that's wood orientated for the Rus, they just do so well. All the camel... Oh, there is a couple of camel lancers involved. Horsemen as well. Now I'll actually debuff a couple of the knights. This could be a decent fight here for Mikos. But it's going to engage against the wooden fortress, which does change things. I don't think Mikos has enough here. Yeah, he's going to back away. The ram should be fine for now. And he does back away. No choice, really. It's unfortunate because it feels like Mikos is trying to get a good fight. It just doesn't really feel like he can at any point just yet. Oh, we've been told that Mikos is Anatan. Okay. Well, another 3D clan member, so... thank you for the clarification in chat. Anatan, a great player of Age of Empires 4. Oh, now he says, sorry, Numedan. Ah, it can't be. I might maybe one of the two. I thought it was 3D cat, but anyway, we will never know, I imagine. Unless we know for 100%. Sometimes the players, they do stream and kind of give it away, but... You can sometimes also check where their Steam account country is from. In any case, Adobe is going to get the sacred site on the west side, at least there for Mikos. To try and negate some of the gold that is being given up on the mid-map objectives. 3 relics in there for Downfall. Raiding has been denied in the southeast. Downfall looking just to wall up this gold vein. It's quite critical actually. 8,000 gold to be had. Now one of the reasons why I love this map, by the way, is that not only do you have a really good central access point to your enemy, but also on the sides, the corners really I should say, the north and the south in this particular map generation. There are critical resources for both players. So, you know, obviously Downfall is going to be focusing on the north. He wants to attack this area if he can. Look how many villages are here. I mean, that's half the economy that Mikos actually has. Now, granted, Downfall actually went on the west side because of the boar there initially. But he's got a lot of gold there in the south that we want to protect long term. But speaking of long term, this could have long term consequences. He takes out a Mangonel. Veteran Desert Raiders riding in. There is a Manjanik for the ayyubids looking to deploy right now. And, well, this is a problem situation for Downfall. I don't think he wins this fight. There's just too much. Well, there is a couple of choke points there. Wooden Fortress getting good value. This is a problem. I mean, the Manjanik is still alive. The knight was looking to dive on that, but doesn't quite do that. I mean, it feels like the ayyubids should just win this straight up, especially with the Mangonel involved. He keeps the Mangonel or the Manjanik alive for now on its last limbs. It does lose it in the end to the emplacement in the Wooden Fortress, but the Wooden Fortress is going to be torched down. But he's losing critical units as he does this. There's one fortress. They are pretty tanky. 1,750 HP. Does go down now. Villagers have to back away. But it did allow Downfall to build up some more units. Might lose this forward production buildings, and that's an issue. I mean, well, it's not really an issue, I've got to say, actually, point. Because look at the wood he has in the bank, Downfall. He can replace his production buildings very quickly and easily. Going to take out the ram, just to make sure that commitment to those resources has gone down. It stays alive for now. Just needs 1 or 2 more hits. Going to focus on the military for now. Does deny those retreating knights. One just about gets away. I'm not sure if he'll survive, though. Gets us around on the ram. Goes around southwards. And that was a good engagement there for the ayyubids, I've got to say. Probably the first best engagement that he's had. He's tried a few earlier on, but didn't quite work out. Villagers tried to get an outpost or wooden fortress. Didn't quite manage it. It's going to chase them down. It's taking another fight here. A good one, I think. Well, there's quite a few crossbowmen. That's a bit of a problem. If the crossbowmen do get tanked on, though, with the horsemen diving on them, it'll be a problem. Ayyubids smelling blood. They're rushing in. Downfall. He's struggling to stabilize. And behind all of this, the Ayyubids got 3 of these sacred sites. Activates that sacred site timer. That win condition is always a possibility at this point, and he's got a strong economy behind this. He's going to dive in. Downfall, losing critical units. And boy, oh boy, I bet he wishes he had the Kremlin Gremlins to draw upon now. Oh, this is a great play. Heavy camel lancers. I love that addition, by the way. It's such a great unit for the Ayyubids. Does have a charge attack, and obviously also gives that camel on ease. Lots of spearmen popping out, though, so there's got to be careful here, Mikos. And might need to get some ranged units. Going to be looking to get the Sultans Mamluks, infantry gaining 25% damage. 20% movement speed for 10 seconds after killing a unit. I think we might be seeing a barrack switch. I think that's a good switch. There it is. 4 barracks on the front lines. Looking to get the Gulams. This is a perfect move, by the way. I absolutely love this play by Mikos. What he's done, he's telegraphed his approach. He's gone for heavy cavalry. Forces Downfall into the spearman line. And so naturally, the Ayyubids now transition into Gulam. With the sacred site victory approaching, could be looking to shore up these sacred sites. I mean, he's going to send a knight there north, and it might not necessarily be the full overall arching game plan for the Ayyubids. It doesn't necessarily need to focus on just the sacred site victory, but obviously it'll be getting him gold anyway. Oh, this is going to be a big raid on the wood line. Oh, Downfall. He doesn't spot this quick enough. He hasn't spotted it yet. Camel Lancers, they do charge in. And they're going to get great value. Does spot it now, but loses at least 4 or 5 villagers in the end. But that keep in the middle. Keeping that sacred site protected. Oh, he took away the knight. He actually got there in the end. That's absolutely huge. I wasn't expecting it, but the camels do get there in time. Spearmen chasing the big issue for Downfall. He doesn't have mobility anymore. He had to transition away from the knights, right? That's always the problem when you deal with the Ayyubids or the Abbasids. The threat of the camels just obliterate your chances with knights. And he's killing even more villagers in that farming transition. Going north, there's all the villagers and gold there to be had. I mean, there's a decent number of spearmen chasing. He will be trapped here, Mikos, but might get some value out of these units nonetheless. In the center of the base, he's going back onto that wood line. Oh, that's a devastating attack. He's going to take so many of those villagers out. Back at home, he's starting to build a siege push. Playing it slowly, methodically. He looked in trouble a little bit earlier in the game, but now he's coming back with a vengeance. And I gotta say, with the siege that's coming out for Mikos, that's looking tough to deal with. Look how many springles he's making with the Gulams. The camels, they're also building too. The benefits of the military wing in full view here. 7 minutes on the sacred site timer. Oh, a couple of villagers will be slain. Yeah, this is great work by Mikos, that's what I've got to say. Like, he's getting a lot of raiding value for the movement speed of his cavalry. He forced Downfall into spearmen, which it always feels like if you're going into spearmen, it's rough, unless you're fully walled up, which he's not. And because of that, that transition to Gulam could be the final nail in the coffin. He's a decent... Oh, what? Okay, it's not really even the Gulam that's the issue. Look how many mangonels he has. The biggest problem for Downfall is that he can't easily take them apart from range. If you go for Springords, The ayyubids just have more. Well, in any case, downfall going up to the Imperial Age. That could be his downfall, because I gotta say, Mikos, once he gets the notification of his opponent going to the Imperial Age, it's probably going to be go time. I can imagine Mikos just putting pedal to the metal and attacking from there. I mean, doesn't necessarily have to, could go for the Imperial Age himself. He's going to be getting the phalanx upgrade for his spearmen. And with 200 population, his max capacity, now's the time to go. And this could be perfect timing, I've got to say. Just as all those resources was pumped in for downfall. And this is a tricky situation, right? He's invested so much into the Imperial Age. If he takes the fight now, he won't be able to wait for those elite upgrades. And that's exactly what downfall wants to do. He's going to have to give up ground. The question is, does Mikos realize what's happening? Manchanik deploy with the incendiary attack. Should be able to double shot or two shot this barracks. There it goes. Down she goes. And the thing is that with the stone walls on the east side, Mikos, he's not going to be too worried about being raided. And now with that Imperial Age notification coming in, you can see Mikos doubling down. He could actually go to the Imperial Age behind this, to be fair. He's got the resources. He's got the population space. The question is, does he decide to? Or does he decide to just continue to pump out units? He might not have to. I think he did just go to Imperial Age. I think he clicked up there. Yeah, he's clicked up. He's going to go up with the industry. Can give 2,500 wood. Holy moly, he's wood hungry here. Does have a trebuchet, which is not going to get all that much value. Too many springles. The camel lancer's diving in. Downfall. He's under pressure. Loses the trebuchet in the end. And the camel lancer's just diving. Manjanik deploying. Unleashing hell on those units. Masses of firebolt flames. Rocks coming down from the sky. And those units have to back away. Absolute devastation. Downfall. How does he fight this off? Now, you might be wondering, there's only 33 military, but you've got to add in the 42 population coming in from the siege. That town centre is going to go down quick time. Now, High Armory, Golden Gate, and Town Centre are all right next door to each other. And that makes it easy pickings for a landmark victory. I've got to say, though, there's not that many units there on the front line. Springles are kind of caught there. He's got to back away. Has he overextended? Quite possibly. But behind all this, I suspect we'll be seeing a lot more units heading across the map. But the Manjanik, there's just too many. He gets about 4 or 5 Springles there down for, but it wouldn't be enough. It's going to come down to Springle Micro. There's a good thing for the Rus. He did take out a lot of Springles to the melee units that he has, but a lot of his Springles do go down. Down to 2 that remain. Manjanik are still alive and kicking. About 5 of them. And Downfall can't get close. He's got 2 Springles left. Although the Springles there have gone down for the ayyubids. Just 1 remains. It's 1 versus 1 in terms of Springles. He does get the win there on Downfall. But only 1 Magnet. It will take too long for the Manjanik to go down. Takes out the town centre. Another 2 Springles do pop out in the south. It's actually kind of a problem for Mikos. He might have to back away. There's not enough military. He backs away with the Mangonels for now. The Manjanik, but he loses 2. Loses another. Downfall. Holding on for now. Mikos gets to that Imperial Age. The concern for Mikos, though, look at the food bank for Downfall. The resource bank looking incredibly healthy for him. So even if he does lose his units, he's going to be able to pump out more. He's going to be able to pump out that quickly. The siege battle pushing back now. Downfall coming with 2 more Manjanik and Horsemen. So the Horsemen kind of try and dive on the Springles. Not a bad idea. I love the switch to the Horsemen, though, by the way. He went for mass crossbowmen, looking to get some more production on the west side, because of course the forward production did go down earlier on for Downfall. Snipes out 1 Springle. It's about to snipe out another. Streltsy coming out alive on the field. This is huge, because if the Streltsy come up in mass numbers, that will be very difficult for Mikos to deal with. Speaking of difficult to deal with, he did lose that Sacred Site in the north. And he lost that mid-map objective. That Sacred Site timer has been reset, or has been completely undone, in fact. He's going to get a keep there now, but he's going to need to send another Dervish out there to capture. Large farming transition. Now, of course, going for growth and 2,500 wood certainly makes a farming transition a lot easier. But I am surprised not to see... I mean, to be fair, he only had Trade Wing as the other option. This could have been a good one, actually. I think Atabek could have been better. In any case, with 3 relics in the bank there, Downfall going to get Tithe Barns. Looking to get the elite upgrade to the Spearman too. Sacred Site being capped on the west side. Looking to just renew that hope in that win condition option. Can we get a couple of rams here? And the villagers will probably torch those down pretty quickly. The Sacred Site victory activated. The timer is ticking. Here comes a bombard. 2 rams, Streltsy crossbow. A nice army, but I've got to say, if there are Manjanik here, there are 2. That could be a problem for Downfall. There is a Culverin looking to snipe out the bombard if he can. Should be able to get another shot off and take out the bombard. The rams won't survive against the cavalry. On the west side, that keeps working pretty nicely. Look to try and deny that, but doesn't quite manage it in the end. Villagers do come and take those rams down. But here comes the fight in the middle. Spearman brace, Streltsy, they're going to work well against the cavalry. Not all of the cavalry is engaging there by the ayyubids. They were caught sleeping, has to back away, but he's going to lose units on the retreat. Spearman getting great value. He needs the Manjanik to do some work here. They're about to deploy. Spearman, they brace. Wait, he didn't go for the Spearman in the end. In fact, he hit nothing almost. Streltsy running around like Mad Hatters. They're being microed really well. Downfall. He's going to snipe out the Manjanik. And Mikos, he's struggling to hold. This is not looking good. 46 military to 31. Mikos, he had a strong push, but it wasn't a death push in the end. And he's slowly being pushed back. Here comes some more rams. Streltsy diving a bit too far forward, I think. He loses a Springald. Culverin going to snipe out another Springald. It's not over yet here for Mikos, that's for sure. Coming in with hand cannoneers. Mikos. He's doubling down. He's pushing back. Doesn't have all that much gold in the bank. Now the question is, do either of these players start to trade? And that's exactly what's happening. Mikos getting the trade set up. No trade yet for the Rus. Understandably so. He's still got 1,400 gold coming in with the 3 relics and also the hunting cabins on the field. Streltsy versus hand cannoneers. Couple of horsemen dive in on top of that. Wasn't able to get all that much value. He's backing away now for Mikos. He's trying to micro this as best as possibly can. Horseman about to dive in. Streltsy backing away though for Downfall. Bear in mind one thing. The High Armory. It has this. Wandering Town. Ram damage increased by 50%. Rams heal 2 health every 1 second. I'm just saying it. Okay, I'm just saying. We've seen it before. We've seen that tech being used, and it's not a pretty sight if you're up against the Rus. I mean, if you're the Rus, then it's absolutely great, but, you know, someone's going to lose. Streltsy ripping them apart. Those horsemen have to back away. And it's turning into a bit of a siege fight, which often is the case against the Rus. Gonna get a keep here on the north side. Gonna get that stone. Gonna deny that wood line. Got plenty of wood here in the south to expand to if he needs to. Something that's a little bit of a concern for Downfall, though, is the Sacred Site timer. The onus is on him to get going. 90 gold per trader for Mikos. Oh, I love this stone wall, by the way. This is going to be looking to protect the Sacred Site in the north. He lost it once, and he's probably a bit annoyed about that. He doesn't want to lose it for a second time. He's already got the stone wall in the east side, and that just leaves the middle Sacred Site that really Downfall could challenge. That's a lot of horsemen. There's not really any units here, Downfall. He's got to be careful not to lose too many villagers, because that could be his downfall. Look at the villager count for Mikos. 146. And I love that play. So often that we get to this stage of the game that actually what you want to do is keep applying pressure, have a great economy, make sure your economy is stronger than your opponent, have a bigger bank of resources, and so when you do lose your army, you can pump out more army quicker than your opponent. And it turns into a bit of a war of attrition. You can see a massive raid coming in. Rams going on the town center on the west side. I mean, the villagers, if they try and torch down the rams, they might be picked apart by the keep. Villagers on the hunting cabin deer camp. They're going to be surrounded. He pulls them away. He does have wheelbarrow, of course, which certainly helps. But behind all of this aggression, what this is doing great for Mikos is it's forcing Downfall to stay at home. And Downfall really wants to get on the Sacred Sites. He needs to decap it. Coming down in the south as well. Villagers and gold. The good thing is that you fortified palace walls for the Rus. holding firm. They've got extra HP. A couple of rams coming down the middle. The only concern for Mikos, though, he invested a lot of units in the middle in that fight. He needs to replace them. But take a look. He already has. He might need to just delete some villages here. He needs to make sure this push doesn't come to fruition. And he's able to hold it. Does have 2 culverins. He needs to snipe out the mangonel if he can. That'll allow the hand cannons to get a clean engagement. But this is looking like a good engagement at Downfall. Does have boiling oil, which will help matters. But he's got to take care of the rams. He hasn't been able to just yet. Culverin, 2 of them. They need to fire off on the rams if they can. But take a look at this. Man-at-arms. That's a lot of man-at-arms. This is looking terrible for Mikos. I don't think he holds. Sure, he's getting rating value, but take a look. Okay, that's a lot of rating value. But the trouble is, that's not the main fight. The main fight is in the middle. He's going to lose the keep. And look at that. Downfall getting a keep of his own. He will decap that sacred site. Trade is going to be caught as well. Trade super exposed. The man-at-arms is going to rip through everything. Horseman is not going to be enough. He doesn't have gold. He's really struggling for gold here, Mikos. And that's only going to get worse with the trade going down. He loses the siege behind this. And might we just see a lot of rams coming from Downfall to see that game out? He might even not even need to. That's a lot of infantry. They're going to dive on top of the production. Any production that does come out from the ayyubids, they're going to be absolutely slaughtered. And this is not looking good. He doesn't have the counters. He needs crossbow. I mean, he needs a way to deal with the man-at-arms. He needs a way to deal with the Streltsy. Doesn't really feel like he's got a way. This is such a premium army for the Rus. He's diving in. And the horsemen trying to trickle out. But again, they're just riding to their deaths. 2 rams as well. Taking out the infrastructure and the production buildings. That's a key bit of detail. Because those 2 rams, behind all of this aggression, behind all of this camping on the production buildings, those production buildings are slowly going down. Loses a ram, mangonel, loses a springald. Needs to take out those 2 horsemen though. They're getting value. Streltsy though, they can't get surrounded. Not in this choke point. It's a great spot to have the Streltsy. Now the arrow slits emplacement is inside that outpost. But again, this number of Streltsy, they're getting so much value. He is being raided a little bit with a couple of rounds. But again, it's not all that critical. Does go for a keep drop. Villagers coming out to torch that down. He needs to back away. There is boiling oil there. Now the keep is great. But again, this is the critical fight that we're expecting to see. This is the big dive in from Downfall. And Mikos, he's finding it hard to hold. To 26 military to 44. He does have a lot of villagers, but it might be... That might be part of his downfall. The economy was booming for perhaps a bit too long. The keep is not... He doesn't have space for the keep to go up. He was trying to. Streltsy numbers building up. There are the rams. They're coming in full force for the Rus. There's no answer to this. Sure, he's being aggressive. He's getting raiding value. He's getting keeps in strategic areas. But the biggest area for this match is the front of the base. The rams are going to dive in. The production's going to struggle here for Mikos. Has plenty of wood to replenish and rebuild those productions, but will he be able to do it quick enough? I'm not so sure. It's down to 176 economy. That's going to dive even further. I mean, Downfall, to be fair, it's down to 120. He's down to 44 villages. He's only got 44 villages here, Downfall. But that might not matter with this number of rams. That was so much raiding coming in from Mikos. But again, this is the death push. That's all that matters. If he takes out the... Wait a minute. Don't forget the ayyubids. Only 2 landmarks. He only has to take out the House of Wisdom. Only has to take out the town center. It's all really possible, especially with the Streltsy there. Body blocking coming in from the rams. The horsemen can't dive on the Streltsy. There are still man-at-arms attacking on that front line. This is absolutely unbelievable. 100 population versus 200 almost. Mikos. He can't find a way to deal with the rams. The horsemen can't get close to the rams. If the horsemen try and focus on the rams, the Streltsy will take them apart. The House of Wisdom is going to go down. The town center going to go down. And you think then Mikos will be down and out. There is a mangonel yet to deploy. It is deploying now. It's absolute mayhem in his base though. Keeps going. And there's no villagers. It's just non-existent. This is the last hurrah for Downfall. He's got to make it count. Got a bank of resources he can stress upon. But with the House of Wisdom about to go down, I can't help but think this is going to be a landmark victory. Downfall. He's going to take the House of Wisdom down. Just 1 or 2 more hits still left in this. Mangonel deploying the House of Wisdom and the town center. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's it. That's the last stretch. There it is. Downfall. He takes the game in Gorge, and a great game of Age of Empires 4. In the end, he barely had any villages, but it just didn't matter.